live. Welcome back to the James McGee Show. I'm your host. I am James McGee and Jason Kiefer from One More and I'm Out of Here. So, Dexter's here already. So let's get him on.
This is gonna be fun.
This is gonna be a fun one tonight. We're live, Dexter.
What's going on, fellas?
Oh, Jesus, that sound! Holy cow! I just took my pants off.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I lied to you all earlier. I told you I was not gonna drink because I'm having surgery and I'm trying to clean up a little bit before my surgery. But I felt the peer pressure, so I have this delicious.
All right, so traditionally, we go around and we talk about what we're drinking.
I'm skipping ahead. No,
that's good. We don't have to go to Jason. We know what the fuck he's drinking. Miller Lite. That's all he drinks.
Yep, he is the king of Miller Lights.
So, what are you drinking, Dexter? Look like some purple.
Because I'm the only black on this podcast tonight. I'm drinking a Monaco Purple Crush.
You motherfucker.
Okay.
I was inspired by Jason over here. And then my second one will be Watermelon Crush.
Well,
I'm doubling down on the stereotypes tonight.
I love it. I love
it. That's a good intro to our subject matter tonight. Because like I said in my video earlier, we're going to no holds barred. We're going to dive deep into whatever comes up, man. I appreciate you coming on, but I'm drinking a man's drink. I'm drinking Jameson. I went to dinner last night with some friends of mine, and they own a liquor store, and they always bring me a bottle. And I'm a big Jameson drinker, but this is Jameson triple. I read up on it a little bit, but it was triple cast or something. But I tell you what, it doesn't matter what it is, damn good. So
triple.
Jameson
I do love
toast to.
Normally, I'm a bourbon drinker.
Well, we'll talk about that. I went to Louisville. I mean, not Louisville. I went to Kentucky. I went to
Bardstown.
Buffalo Trace. Yeah. So that was. So anyway, let's do a toast to just to us.
Absolutely.
To us three, and we're gonna get down with it tonight. So, Jason, why don't you tell us just a little bit? Set the scene a little bit about. I met Dexter at your wedding. Feel like I've known him forever now. He's that kind of guy. Tell us a little bit, about y'all's relationship, how y'all contact, how y'all made contact, and and then we'll just dive into it, Dexter.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of meeting Dexter once we got our podcast somewhat off the ground. We were, barely off the ground, but we were having a live episode, audio live, but live in a bar. And we had Lieutenant Colonel Stu Scheller, who was going to be on. And if you're not aware, he's got a book, Crisis at Command. He's working under Pete Hegseth right now, which is amazing. But his book, Crisis at Command, is killer. But ironically, he's from where I live, like where I'm sitting right now. And I had reached out to Eric Tansey, who had been on our podcast before. Eric knew Dexter. Everything kind of just networked together, and it came to fruition where Stu was going to come into the bar and do a live episode. And Eric said, "Hey, do you care if I invite my buddy Dexter?" I'm like, "Hell no, the more the merrier." So then he gave me a background. He wrote a book. He was a veteran, a police officer, and the whole thing. And Dexter was gracious enough to drive up from Louisville to Cincinnati, left, and then came back the next day and did it all over again, which was absolutely amazing. But to your point, James, like once you meet Dexter, whether it's via phone or video or whatever, or in person, you feel like you knew the guy forever. So then Dexter and I became buddies, and I went down and spent a Friday and Saturday with him and his family. Dexter and I had a man date.
That's right.
We went to a movie. Everybody, don't be shocked. There was a seat open between us, as man rules apply. But his wife, his kids, amazing people, and put me up. And we had a great lunch, a great evening, and then a great breakfast. And then they sent me off, and they were like, "Hey, white boy, you got to get out of here."
Funny fact, though, when I did go up to where he's from, they don't have many homicides there. Apparently, the black population increased like 100% when I came into town, and there was a homicide for some odd reason, and everybody thinks I did it, but it wasn't me. I promise.
It literally was like 2 miles from where we were at. So Rob, our buddy, who was one of the founding members of One More Out here, immediately looked at Dexter. He was like, "Hey, we had a homicide today. Where were you at?"
Part of the course.
So Dexter, since you brought that up, I don't feel I feel like I can say this. Did you notice at his wedding that you and I were together? The guy from Louisiana and the black guy were together. Did you notice that? I don't know who moved the seat.
In the back.
You were in the corner together.
I knew what I was getting to when I walked in.
Well, for the record, Eric Tansey was supposed to be there, was going to be at your table. He big time me, but just messing. He's been busy.
I felt like the Negro of honor there, but you betrayed me. There was one other black guy there as a firefighter. I did not appreciate that, bro. If I'm going to be your one and only, I'm going to be your one and only.
And look, I felt
know what the Drinking Bros did and gave you a crown and a dashiki and all that.
And Dexter, I felt the same way about your wife. She is just an amazing person. We enjoyed. My wife enjoyed visiting with her.
Oh,
we
had a
felt like
good time
we've known y'all forever, man.
Absolutely, man. I was like, I can't wait to get back from this vacation and hop on the show with these guys, man.
Yeah. So Jill and I can't be more happy the fact that you guys made the trips up.
Absolutely, man. I wasn't going to
short, long, whatever. The fact that you guys wanted to spend that day with us, we appreciate it. I know she appreciates it a ton. So thank you.
Well, it ended up being and I said this on the last show, but it ended up being one of the best trips that we had ever had. And you know, we went to the game. It's just it was just a good trip, and we both really enjoyed it. And you didn't get to meet him, Dexter, but you'll meet him. He was supposed to be here. Now he's always with us, but we were a little early for him. He works at the railroad now.
Oh, okay.
But, Tom Wells, he's a retired police chief in the Cincinnati area. But we spent Tommy and I. So how the whole thing started with us was Tom and I were classmates at the National Academy 16 years ago, and so Tom introduced me to Rich Crumman. I don't know if you know Rich, but he's from Cincinnati. And then Rich introduced me to Jason, and then here we are today, you know. And then now you're with us. So this has really been a great year for me. We just made a year, you know, on our show.
Oh, nice.
And it's been it's been great. So let's just dive into it. Tell us a little bit about, you know, I know we could talk for hours just about, you know, your story, but give us the rundown on who Dexter Pitts is and a little bit about your life.
All right. Well, as always, man, I appreciate y'all bringing me on. I was telling Jason, I was like, I haven't done a podcast in a while. I just did one of mine's like, I think like 2 weeks ago. I was getting ready to do another one, but I've been on vacation. And man, anytime anybody invites me on their show, man, it's always a pleasure. I just really enjoy this. You know, a lot of people do this to like grow and get famous and get big. But I tell people I'm into podcasting for the connections because I just like people. I genuinely love and like people. Yo, that's why I think that's why I'm a good police officer, man. I genuinely enjoy people. And so I've gotten to meet, you know, new people, you, James, and your wife. She was awesome, man. So I just really appreciate anybody willing to give me a second of their day. So, man, but you know, I'm just this black guy from Kentucky, man, brought up in the military, and I always said I would never join the military. Then 9/11 happened, and like everybody from the global war on terrorism generation, I raised my hand to serve, was in the infantry with the 10th Mountain Division, got wounded in Iraq, and my military career ended prematurely than what I expected. So I was back out in 3 years and trying to find my way in life, and I stumbled into law enforcement, and I've been in law enforcement for 16 years. Let me tell you, I freaking love this job. I love this profession. I love cops. There's not a lot of things in life I know, but I know policing and I know police officers, Joe. And that's one thing I can tell people all day. There's nothing you can tell me about cops that I don't already know. I don't know a lot, but I know enough about policing, man, that this is what I've been called to do in life. And I mean, started my career in 2009 with the Louisville Metro Police Department in the West End, in the 2nd Division in the hood. Man, did 2 years on the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force, back to the streets. And I'll tell everybody, man, I'm a patrol dog, man. Like I'm a gutter boy, bro. I love being on the streets. I love being in the gutter. I love being first on calls, first through the door. 16 years in, I'm still like that, yo. So I still got that drive in me. I love it. And I'm no longer with Louisville Metro because I've left in 20. I always get the dates confused. It's been so long now, but I think 2018 I left and joined the Border Patrol. It was always my desire and dream to be a Fed, and I felt like I was going to be a marshal, but they weren't hiring at the time. So I figured I'd get my feet in the door with the Border Patrol, do a couple years, then transfer over to the lateral over to the marshals. And man, that was the worst decision of my life, man. I did a year on the border, brother, and it didn't take long for me to realize, you know what? I have no business being here as a federal agent. This is not what I like and what I thought it was. Although I'm not going to lie, seeing how them boys is putting in work now in the streets, if it had been like that back in 2018, man,
I was thinking about
dog. Let me tell you something, man. I would have never left because that's what I wanted to do. But in 2018, we didn't have the immigration crisis we're having, so it was just real. It was real boring, and I was just like, man, I'm going back to the streets, back to policing. Went to a small agency in Arizona thinking it would be the same, man. But here's one thing I tell people: you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And man, if you're a cop anywhere and you try to go somewhere new and start over, it's the hardest thing you'll ever do because you just get so used and accustomed to the people and the area you work in, the department policies, and trying to start and learn all that stuff over is hard, man. So I understand why a lot of cops don't leave. Although at the same time, I hear a lot of cops complain about the places they work and they won't leave and try nothing. And so people look at me like I'm crazy. Like, why'd you leave? I'm like, well, why'd you stay? You complain about it every day. Do something about it. I went out and tested the waters. I didn't like it. And I've been back, and then I'm at my new police department. I've been there going on 3 years, and I think I'm staying here for the long haul, man. It's a good place. I like my chief. I got a lot of support. I can do my job. I don't have all the worries that a lot of larger police departments have because I feel really supported by my command, but I'm also realistic in doing the 16 years and know that I don't care wherever you work. Cops have this thing with the South and like Florida, like if I just go be a cop in Florida, everything's going to be okay and I can be the real police. Here's what I've learned over 16 years. I don't care what you've done and how much your chief likes you. He's not going to ruin his paycheck or his next position to save your ass. Right. That is the truth. So it don't matter where you go. It's policing, man. It's going to be political no matter where you go. So just get in where you fit and enjoy the ride, man. Like I say, I'm 16 in, dude, and I got a way to go, but I'm not counting down to retirement because I just genuinely love being a cop. Always have, man. This is my home. It's what I do.
And what I want to throw into what amazes me about Dexter's story and knowing Dexter as a man, as a person, as a family man, husband, father, is the routes that your life has taken you is amazing to me because you went military, then you became a cop, and then you're like, I want to go be Border Patrol. I don't like that. I went back to be a cop. And talking to a couple of your buddies that we've talked to before, together, I know what kind of cop you are. I can only imagine because I didn't know you then, but like what kind of soldier you were. Like it's just amazing, and it's just you meet a man's character and you know exactly who the hell he is. But you've gone through so many different facets. I'm very simple. I've been a fireman my whole adult life. That's what I know. That's what I got. But you did, the multiple different facets. That's what I love about your story.
I appreciate that, man. But some might say it's because I'm retarded, but I mean,
guess what? You're mine. You're mine. And you tell them to call me.
Dexter, what year did you start with Louisville?
Man, 2009, brother. I can't believe how long it's been.
Okay, so okay. In a sense, it's been long, but in another sense, it hasn't been that long. Okay.
Yeah.
But what could you say is the main difference from 2009 to where today we are as a whole, as far as the culture, as far as the dynamics, the atmosphere, the attitude towards police? What's the difference? And this is a softball question because obviously we know there's a lot of difference.
Oh yeah.
Just in 15 years, it's,
man.
You started at the same year I went to the NA, and I remember some of the issues that we would discuss at the NA. Well, those issues don't even exist anymore. Social media barely around. It's just a total deal. So what's your take of the front? Because you're still in the front line.
Oh yeah.
So on the front line 15 years ago, you're on the front line now. What's the difference?
Man, the biggest difference is public perception. So when I started in 2009, I would say most police departments weren't really worried about the PR battle, the public relations battle. It was just kind of, hey, go do your job and we'll deal with it, the fallout, whatever happens, yo. And now we're at a place to where I've coined this term. So if you hear anybody else using it, hey, I started it.
You're gonna file a lawsuit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I'm nobody, so nobody won't care. But man, I've coined the term. We are now focused on this is a optics-based policing era where everything is focused on optics. In 2009, if I went out and handled business and I had to lay the hands on somebody, man, it would be done and over. Wouldn't make the news, yo. No matter what happened, it would just be done and over. You get your little investigation. They find you guilty, they find sustain you or not sustain, then, take your punishment or take your right off, then just be done and go about your way. Now, we're in a time where if you are a police officer, you have to be focused on not what you do, but what it is, what it looks like, what you're doing. That is the biggest difference between now and then, because like you said, there were not body cameras back in 2009. And I remember when I first got my body camera, I was like, I don't want this thing, man. Like, I'm a cop. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to distort the truth. I'm a cop. If you can't believe the police, who can you believe? And now they're everywhere. Now I have one. I don't want to work without a body camera because it has saved my hide more than it's cost me anything.
You and I had that conversation at the wedding. And, I was the commander that was implementing.
I was wearing a body cam during the wedding just to make sure.
So I was.
Hope you took it off before you went on your honeymoon, Jack.
And let me tell you, that was hard, Dexter. Getting people like you that hadn't had body cameras. All of a sudden, we putting a body camera on you. There were some growing pains during that. But now I can tell you, every one of those guys are like, man, I don't want to work without a body camera. And I've only had one incident where a body camera hurt someone and didn't help them. And this guy deserved what he got. He was a bad guy. Thank God we had the body camera because he had been doing some things for a while. And he ended up getting arrested, and he should have. But people are seeing that. And when they have to have the trust in the leadership. And I know what you're talking about, Dexter, because, I came from a political base. We're political. I worked for an elected sheriff. And in 2004, when our sheriff got elected and he appointed me as a commander, our philosophy then was good policing is good politics. If you get out there and you police right, the politics take care of itself. But then, 2020 was, we all know what happened.
Summer of love, baby.
Yeah. And
I hope you go into a little bit of that. I don't want to put you on Front Street, but I hope you go into a little bit of that during this show.
Well, I'm gonna go wherever. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna go wherever Dexter will take it, because I'm gonna respect the fact that you're still an active duty policeman. I don't want to put you on the spot, so man, feel free to say
Oh, I don't hold back, bro. I won't hold back.
I'm just giving a disclaimer. I want to go. I want to hit it, man, because I think that's where we're really screwing up is we're not. So in 2016, 2014, we had Michael Brown.
That's when it all started.
Yep. Then 2016, which was close to me, was Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge. That was just as bad.
I remember that one. I lost a lot of friends over that, man.
Well, let me tell you I sent a team over there, and I was really involved in that one. It was handled really good by our state police and all the surrounding sheriff's office that went and participated. And then in 2020 with George Floyd, and it I came in. I'm gonna show my age here. I came in 1990.
The colors era.
Well, Rodney King. I came in right
why were you not there to save Abe Lincoln, you son of a bitch?
He's on John Wilkes Booth's side.
So I came in 1990, right after Rodney King, and that changed in my era. That changed policing, but we still didn't have cameras, and it just wasn't like it is now. So I understand 2020 changed it for all these policemen, and 1990 changed it for us. But the difference with the Rodney King incident, I'm just going to be very honest on this. Number one, those cops should have been the ones that went to prison.
Absolutely.
They beat the fucking brakes off of Rodney King. I don't understand that. And look, I was a use of force instructor for 20 years. I was DT guy. I can't justify that. And I know I ain't going to try to justify that. But the Rodney King thing, Dexter, and you and I talked a little bit about it. I think I know where you stand, but we didn't talk in depth about it. But here's the problem that I have, the whole Rodney King, the whole George Floyd issue. They withheld so much from us. Here I was, as a leader. I got in front of all these men and women and put all my credibility out there and said, this policeman deserves to go to prison. And I really put it out there, and we're, we have to, when cops are wrong, we have to say they're wrong, and we have to condemn our own. I'm condemning these policemen. Well, dude, then a year later, the truth comes out. These policemen are fucking innocent. And Jason knows this. Every time George Floyd's name, that's the hill that I'm going to die on, because 4 cops went to prison innocent. And I don't understand how people, now we know the truth, and I've looked at, and here's my thing, and every time I talk about it, every time I do a video and I do any kind of article, write it or whatever, I will debate it with anyone.
I'm just waiting for the chats to ignite.
Yeah. Well, since he's in the chat, so I'm gonna tell him right now.
I see he's not a fan. He's like token. I was like, bro, I've been called worse. You got to come harder than that.
He hates us here at One More No Matter. He loves to hate us. Let me put it.
I bet you ain't gonna drop me no money for reparations, you son of a gun. I ain't black enough, am I? I bet you not. Hates the show, but can't help but tune into the live. I never understand.
So I will debate this with
the algorithm, baby. Hit the algorithm.
I have one condition on debating about George Floyd. I will only debate it with people who has watched as much body cam footage as I have. I have watched every fucking second of every fucking policeman's body cam. So if you've watched that and you still think those policemen are wrong, I'll debate with you.
And but James, I'm gonna interject just because I'm not a cop. I'm not a cop. I'm the outlier here, but I got my blue lights on for you guys.
Yeah.
But you're right. I know enough cops. I hang out with cops all the time. If you haven't and don't know how to understand police work and what needs to happen, especially when there's a crowd around, and you know a lot more about it than I do, but I agree with that. Watch as much footage, and then we'll come back to me, and then we'll have a conversation, and we'll have a legitimate conversation. The problem is there's no legitimate conversations. It's a one-sided ignorance.
Liberals just can't have conversations about it because first off, they're stupid. Second off, they're fucking unreasonable. So that's,
the biggest part, unreasonable.
So if you're willing, and if you disagree with me, that's fine. If you're willing, what's your take on what we were presented from the beginning and then what we find out later?
So this is what I was telling you. We are in an optics-based policing era.
Yes, we are.
The video for George Floyd looked horrible.
Yeah.
It looked, because when I first saw it, I was like, yo, what the did this man just kill this dude? Yeah. I mean, everybody across the nation, every cop I knew was like, this is bad, bro. This is bad. But once the facts came out, guess what? Completely changed the story, but it didn't matter because at that point in time, the PR battle was already lost because it looked bad. That is why I tell cops, new cops, I was like, you are an actor first and a police officer second. And they look at me like I'm crazy when I tell them that. I'm like, yo, this is all about optics. We had a new police chief in Louisville Metro Police Department from Atlanta a couple years ago when she came in. And she said, if it looks bad, even if you're right, I'll get rid of you. That's when I coined the term. This is optics-based policing. George Floyd was lost on an optics-based level because of how it looked. Yo, I tell new officers, look, your goal is like you are under scrutiny 24/7. You have a body camera attached to you for your whole shift. Your entire goal should be 1, going home safe. Number 2, winning the Oscar for Best Actor.
Dude, I love that.
You literally that has to be your thing, yo. Dude, I tell people, they call me, my guys in my platoon call me officer friendly. Man, Dex is the nice guy, man. Everybody want to talk to Dex. Most days I don't want to talk to people because I'm tired. I'm, been working overtime and extra duty. But I put on the show because I tell the new cops, it is your job to make the public feel as though they are the most important thing in your perspective at the moment. Mm-hmm. You have to. I've taken so many stupid reports that I didn't want to take. Officer, I don't know what happened, but I need to report a theft. Like, what's going on? Somebody snuck in my house at night and stole all my shoelaces out my shoes. And I'm like, what? Are you serious? Man, that's crazy, man. I don't know what's going on in this world, bro. But I make that person feel as though those shoelaces are the most important part of my day. You know why? Because that person's going to go out and tell his friends, man, you know what, bro? I called to report my shoelaces stolen, man. This cop just made me feel so much better about it. Optics-based policing. Did I care about those shoelaces? Absolutely not. Did I have better things to do? Yes, I did. But when a taxpayer calls 911, they want that to feel and know that that officer cares. Yeah. Your goal to win the Academy Award for Best Actor. You don't have to care deep down, but you got to make that person feel like you care. The same with George Floyd. If the officer, I forgot, what's his name? Jeez, I don't know. I forgot. Chauvin. Chauvin. Yeah. If he would have thought about it, man, but you're not thinking about that in a moment. But everything I do now, I think about, man, if I do this right now and the camera's rolling, how's this going to look in about a couple hours when this video is going around the world, yo? So, man, if he had just decided, you know what? He's saying I can't breathe, take my knee off of him, even though we know it's the fentanyl that killed him. The man took enough fentanyl to kill 6 Kentucky Derby horses. It wasn't the knee that killed him. We know that. We know that. But, you're right. Yeah, but
we know that. But why doesn't the mainstream media and why doesn't pieces of shit? Now, when I say this name, Jason knows where I'm going. I'm about to get really pissed off. Why don't pieces of shit like Jasmine Crockett's shit?
Oh boy, don't get me started on this.
Why don't people like her? Because
she's winning the Academy Award. She's an actor. She is the most. She is so educated.
She's not a good one.
She's not a hood. She's not a hoodlum, but she's playing the part to her constituents.
Yeah.
She's not ghetto.
She took Dexter's fucking master class is what she
That's
did.
what I'm saying, bro. How you think I got on this show?
So like I was, when I was said earlier about, we talked about at the beginning of our administration that politics means good policing is good politics. Well, at the end, it became the game of protect the brand.
Yep, that's all it is.
That's all it is. And I
protect the department at all costs.
I'll coin that phrase now, Dexter. You can't steal my, you can borrow it.
I'm black, I'm gonna steal it.
So that's what it's become. And look, it's become that because the public has dictated that.
We let the public dictate it.
We're letting the public dictate that. And it's time for us to take the ball back. So, and Jason, this goes not just for policemen. My next statement, I want both of y'all's take on. I feel like first responders as a whole are being are at a complete disservice, at a complete disadvantage. It has come down to the society in the world. You got all these smart motherfuckers in the world, all these doctors and all these psychiatrists and all these politicians paid all this money and people with more degrees than a thermometer. They can't figure out what to do with the mentally ill. They can't figure out what to do with the homeless people. So what do? Give it to the cops.
Everything.
We don't know what to do with this. Give it to the cops. So we're now, and I get really passionate when I talk about this, Dexter. Now we're going to take a 21-year-old man or woman, all right, with limited training, and we're going to say, hey, go deal with a mentally ill homeless person. And then what happens, something really bad happens and they die. They want to take this young man, put him in fucking prison. That's wrong.
He didn't have to shoot that man. He didn't have to shoot that. Yeah.
Well, because y'all didn't fix the fucking problem and you gave it to a 20-year-old policeman with limited training. And now you're going to crucify this guy. That's not okay. That's not okay. And Jason, same thing with firemen, EMS. How many calls do you go out there expect you to fucking deal with as a paramedic? What the fuck are you supposed to do with them?
Yeah. And I mean,
besides shoot them up with Narcan, what else you do with them after that? There ain't no resources for them.
Right. And where I work and where I've worked in the past, firemen can come on at 18. You don't have to be 21. So now you got an 18-year-old kid.
We hired 18 in our jail.
And but like as a police officer here in Ohio, you have to be 21 to be Outta certified, whatever. But either way, 18 to 21, you're still, to me that's the same shit. But you have an 18-year-old who has barely had any life experience outside of mommy and daddy's house, or may still be living in mommy and daddy's house. And then here you are, you put him on an ambulance and you send him out, and you got some whether it's a schizophrenic or a crackhead or heroin addict or whatever, and they do the wrong thing, they're getting hemmed up. And it goes back to training. But like I could say on the fire side, we don't train our people enough to be able to handle that, because that's a psychology type training versus a physical, like EMS
a couple of years ago.
Train them for that. That's not their fucking job.
Exactly. No, you're supposed to be putting out fires.
Yeah,
but you're not, dude. I think it was a couple of years ago. I think in Appleton, Wisconsin, there was a firefighter who was killed by a guy.
Yes.
On the EMS wagon. Yep. They gave him Narcan. The guy came back and then stabbed the officer the firefighter to death.
Yep.
It's like, man, how does this happen? And like I said, that's not y'all's job, unfortunately. But like I said, this is what I tell people. I love America, but we are so intellectually lazy as a country. And I tell people, we have money for everything in this country. We got money for gender studies in Pakistan. We got money for wars in Israel. We got money for wars in Ukraine, but we don't have money to open up mental health hospitals around the country that were shut down in the 80s by Reagan, unfortunately. One of the worst things he's done, and Reagan's awesome. The worst thing that he could have done, shut down these mental health institutions. And because now these people roam free.
And when Trump says that he wants to open asylums again, everyone looks at him like, holy shit, what's wrong with this fucking guy?
Crazy, man.
You need him.
Yes, we need him, dude. And I tell James, you would agree. If we got rid of if we took care of the mental health problems, I'd probably be bored off my ass at work. Yes. You would too, because dude, I feel so bad for the firefighters that have to bring out that big ass truck for the heroin overdose for the same guy for the third time in a shift. It's like, don't y'all have better things to do? But we got to revive this guy again. Then I got to go arrest him again. It's the same cycle. And nothing changes, man. And nothing changes because it's all about liability. We passed the liability football. Well, we woke him up. Oh, we gave him Narcan, took him to the hospital. And then, he comes to me. Well, sir, you got to go to jail for stealing beer from the store. I'm about to kill myself. Well, I can't take you to jail. Now I got to
call the ambulance.
Now I got to call EMS. Yep. And it just ties all of our resources up and nothing gets done.
Meanwhile, grandma's having a heart attack right up the street, and our bus is tied up with this bullshit. And somebody's in cardiac arrest. No, you're absolutely right, Dexter. Absolutely right. Real quick, in your intro, you didn't say anything about, and I know we're going on a great tirade, but you didn't say anything about your book, and I want you to talk about your book.
Oh,
Let's talk about your book. We'll get back into this other stuff, but I want to talk about your book.
Man, so yeah, I am Pitt's Memoirs of an American Patriot, man. It took me 7 years to write, because like I said, I suffer from PTSD from the military, but I'll be honest, 16 years of policing sure as hell ain't helped. But man, it started as a way for me to just kind of mentally unload a lot of stuff I was carrying with me for over the years. I mean, nightmares and things I encountered in Iraq. I mean, my mom's suicide while I was on duty. I mean, just the riots. I mean, everything, and just even childhood trauma from the Black community, from being dark skinned and being made fun of for being so dark skinned by Black people. I carried that trauma with me, and I mean, I carried for years so much hatred for myself and people that look like me, because I was always victimized by people that look like me, never people that were white. I never had a problem with that, but it was always people that look like me. So I carried all this trauma for years, yo. And then I was like, I just got to get this out of me. And I just realized, like, if I die, somebody's going to tell my story for me, and it's not going to be the correct story. And I was like, man, I have to tell my story because I want my kids to know who I am from my perspective, not from what the people that worked with me say, not from what my wife says. I want my kids to know who I was from my perspective, yo. So I started writing, man. And I mean, like, it took me 7 years, but you know what pushed me to finish my book? 2020. I was towards the end of it, and I was like, yo, it was October or November of 2021. It was a year after the Breonna Taylor incident, man. And I remember we were out at the intersection of First and Broadway, Brook and Broadway. And this was the night that they decided that the officers weren't going to jail, yo. So people were mad and pissed, man. We got in this giant skirmish early in the day. We called the Battle of Bardstown Road here, man. Bro, I mean, I put a dude, literally ripped the dude's dreadlocks out, and I made Fox News. I have to send y'all the picture, but they got a picture of me on top of this guy, like, yeah.
We didn't know you were famous.
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. But yeah, but man, I ripped his dreads. I beat his face in, man. And then later that night, we were out at the intersection, and guns shot ringing out, man. And I just remember pulling the guy in front of me, and I pulled him back behind the pillar to take cover. And 2 of our officers got shot. Our major and my boy Dez got shot, yo. And just, it was kind of that moment when I was like, man, I might not live to the end of this year. I might not live till tomorrow because people really hating us. And I was like, man, I got to finish this book. And I remember we went on a little weekend trip to Great Wolf Lodge, yo, and that's when I finished my book. And I was like, man, I was just so motivated. I was like, I can't die before this gets out. Can't die before this gets out. You know, so man, I finished the book, and I mean, I tried to do the whole traditional publishing route, man. And dude, people that ain't never wrote a book don't know how hard it is and how grimy of an industry it is. It is so hard. I mean, 7 years, man. And I found a guy that helped me do my book, but he turned out to be a piece of crap, and he's a former cop and self-proclaimed Christian. And bro, he kind of screwed me over with my book. Paid the man $5,000 to do my book. And I feel like he just ran through a basic spell check, didn't do anything to really help improve my book, but he did the cover for it, did a good job on the cover. So my book comes out, man. I published it in, I think it was it was on my live day of January 2nd, 2020. Jesus, what was it, 22, I think? That was January 2nd of 2022 when my book was officially published. It was a self-published.
Explain that term for people.
So the Outta Day is for anybody that served in the military in war and the day like you almost died. Mine was January 2nd, 2005, when I got hit by an IED in Iraq. And somehow, miraculously, I came out alive and almost lost my left arm, you know. So, you know, and I had to spend, God bless, like 6 months in Walter Reed trying to learn how to really walk and getting all these surgeries. I had, 13 surgeries at that point just to save my left arm. And as a matter of fact, I tell people I'm going in for my 19th surgery on November 3rd. I'm having pretty much my left shoulder almost completely replaced. Not completely, but it's like a three-fourths of a replacement, man. I got in a fight last year with a Trump-loving, meth addicted gay guy. Yo, and when I landed,
it was like oxymoronic shit when you told me that the other day. It was just so
like only in policing, man. I swear, only in policing does that happen, man. But tore my shoulder up, yo. So my shoulder's already bad, and so now I'm going in for that surgery, man. So man, that's yeah. So and actually, I'm working on book number 2 now. And James, you'll appreciate this, man. My new book, it's called Jesus, man. I've had one drink. I'm a lightweight right now. It's a profession in crisis. It's a profession in crisis. I'm talking about policing, and I'm trying to find a way to get people to come back to policing because I still believe in this profession.
That is a really good mission. That is a mission that we need, especially men like you who are still on the street after 15 years. You're still on the front lines. That's who needs to be carrying the torch. Administrators don't need to be carrying the torch. It needs to be people like you that are doing that. And then, let's look at the race issue. We need, I'm a big David Brown fan. I don't know if you familiar with David. He was the chief of police in Dallas.
Oh, yeah. His son was killed by the cops, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yes.
So when he did his interview, and I got to meet him, I saw him live speak. He wrote a book. He signed. I got pictures with him, signed my book, and all that. Just a fabulous guy. And when they sent the robot in and blew the guy up.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yes, the 2018 BLM shooting.
He's a real guy, but he's also
I know a couple of Dallas cops that were there.
Nice.
Yeah, he's also a very community oriented guy. And I remember when they interviewed him, and he said, "What do you say to the critics?" They said, "Put in an application."
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
There you go.
That's perfect.
Put in
perfect.
And see, and that's another thing where you were asking me what's changed. Unfortunately, the criteria to become a police officer has been so watered down that unfortunately the standards aren't what they used to be, man. That's one of the biggest things, yo. So we've gone from a time of, hey, who's best for this job? They looked at my application. I don't think they saw me as a black dude. Maybe, I don't know. But they saw, man, this guy's military. He's got his 60 college credit hours. Yeah, this guy's solid. Let's bring him on board, yo. But now we've gotten rid of all this. And like I said, we're back to the optics-based policing thing where we're checking boxes. Oh, well, hey, we're a more inclusive, up-to-date police department. Look at our, as I call them, the parade of Negroes. Look at our black officers over here. Look at these guys, man. They're just like you in the community. Look at these guys. And I can't stand it because we've foregone and lowered standards to the point to where we can just let anybody in. And unfortunately, as you know, we ran out all the good police officers in 2020. I will counter that and say, I think that 2020 was good in a way that we found out who was real and who was fake. If you're still here after 2020, congratulations. You are a real police officer because this is an easy job to do when the public loves you. This is an easy job to do when everybody's singing your praises. However, 2020, when everybody's like, I hope you all die, I'm going to rape your wives and murder your sons and daughters, not as easy of a job to do. And guess what? A lot of people decided, you know what? I'm done. I've done my time. I'm checking out. We had people that were like, man, I'm going to be here for 20 years. Year 3, 4, they were like, hey, bro, I'm out. So we know who's still here are the people that really care and really want to be cops. But like I said, unfortunately, we got to a place to where nobody wants to be cops anymore. We can't get anybody in the door. So now we're at a point, man, in 2009, when I signed up, there were hiring freezes all over the places. You couldn't get on a police department unless you knew somebody.
In the fire service, at least up here, like the fire service was the same way. So like the city of Cincinnati, and I'll compare it to big city first. But like city of Cincinnati used to stand outside the convention center, get a ticket punched with your time where you were at, and then you went in, and that was your seniority. So if you got hired on, that ticket was like your number. Like that's your seniority. And there were 5,000, 6,000 people taking the test.
Yeah.
This past or 2 years ago, don't quote me on it, but I think it was 2 years ago, 900 people.
God, from 5,000. I mean, it was the same with the police
for the city of Cincinnati.
Jesus, man.
So like for the suburban departments, you would have 200 people for one position. Well, now, I mean, it's if you have a pulse and you got your certifications, all right, come on in the door. We'll figure it out.
See, I'm glad you're saying that because it's not just policing. At my police department where we're at, we're one of the second to first highest paid in the state. The list to get on here used to be 20, 30 people, 40, 50 people long. My hiring list was like 7 people.
Yeah.
What cop doesn't want to make more money? And it's the same with you all. Like I said, there's a sickness in America where people don't care about people no more. People are out for themselves, unfortunately, and we can't survive like that as a country. We need first responders. We need second responders as firefighters, man. We need you.
Yeah, I knew.
You know I was gonna do it. Yeah, but man, but the fact that nobody wants these frontline jobs anymore is astonishing, man. We are the foundation of America.
Well, here's the thing, Dexter, too. The with the whole COVID hoax bullshit. And I'm going to say you don't have to agree with it or whatever, but I'm going to
almost died from it. But I mean, I feel you.
The fucking nobody wants to fucking work. The young people don't want to fucking work anymore.
They all want to be influencers.
You got to put work in to be a fucking cop. You got to put work in to be a fucking fireman. Like you have to put the work in. Nobody wants to do it. Now, luckily, I know probably 4 or 5 people in my close realm that decided to be either cops or firemen just recently, but they're older in age. Like they're not the 21, 22-year-old, beating the chest, raring to go people. But they're like, you know what? I'm smart enough now. Like, I think I want to do this. But COVID, they were giving everybody money. Nobody wants to work.
Yeah.
And that's where we were having a problem where our drought came up, at least here. I'm assuming it's probably global, but
It's everywhere. If you look, I've never seen so many police departments offering these crazy amount of incentives to come be a cop. They're giving these hiring bonuses of like $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. I got a homeboy that just went to ICE, and they're like, bro, they're paying $50,000 to come join ICE. I'm like, where was this in 2009? In 2009, you had to do this for the love of the game, bro. You wasn't getting extra. It's crazy. Like, you had to be a cop because you wanted to be a cop. There was no
bring your own belt.
Bro, I took a pay cut from coming from a janitor at the VA to become a police officer. I remember I pulled up my first pay stub from the police academy, bro. I wish I could find it right now. It was like $10, $11 an hour, something crazy. And I was like, I'm doing better as a housekeeper at the VA.
Right.
But now, bro, I'm making like at my police job now, I think we make new guys are coming on starting at close to like $95,000.
Yeah.
And still people are like, nah, I'm good, bro.
I never thought that I would see a suburban fire department around me and we have 43 municipalities in our one county. There's 43 different municipalities.
That's crazy.
It's nuts the way it's set up. I never thought that probably 90% of them would hire full-time fireman EMT basics. You have EMT basic and EMT paramedic. When I got on, you had to be a paramedic or get put through school. Now it's all these kids coming right out of school. One of my really good friends just got hired, making right around 85 grand
out of school
as a firefighter EMT basic with no experience.
God, James, hey, what was your pay rate starting back in 1990?
Let me tell y'all this. I'm gonna tell you 1990. So first off, in 1990,
10 pennies.
Let me tell y'all. So 1990. And before I even tell you what the pay is, I'm gonna tell you how hard it was to get the fucking job.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, in 1990, you had to have a political connection to get an application, not to get a job, to get a fucking application. They weren't accepting applications. So my dad was a nobody. My dad was a plant worker, good guy, but he was a nobody. We didn't have any connections. So I ended up going to a wedding with a friend of mine. Didn't even know the bride and groom, but it was free beer. So I went with a friend of mine. And my friend's dad knew the sheriff. The sheriff was at the wedding.
He showed up to my wedding, Dexter.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So I go to the wedding, meet the sheriff. And my friend's dad said, hey, he's trying to get an application. And the sheriff's drunk. He says, if I get an application, you're hired. Start next week. Call my secretary. And I started 2 weeks later. That's how it went in 1990. But other than that, you had to have a connection. That's how hard it was to get a job. And let me tell you, my first check, now we used to get paid, all right, once a month. I want y'all to guess, clear pay, how much my first check was for the month.
1990?
But I'm going to go with $450.
Well, it's a little more than that. $795.
I was going to call $800.
Hey, $795. When all these guys,
gas was only fucking 60 cents a gallon. I mean,
it really was. But when all these young deputies would rib me, when I was a commander, and our sheriff paid us well. Oh, you're making 6 figures and this and that. I would just, when they would text me something like that, I would just text them 3 numbers, $795. My first check was $795.
And you thought you made it to the big leagues, didn't you?
I thought I was rich. I went and bought a new truck. I thought, look, it was $795, and I got to get a free apartment because I did security, so it was great. But yeah, that's how much that it has changed. And The starting pay here is not near what it should be, but it's okay.
So let me ask you. You said you used to do security because I was an off-duty. I was a courtesy officer. I would get an apartment for free. Yeah. So man, I remember my first off-duty gig was at the Gold House in Louisville, Kentucky, and I was like, "How much is it paying? $25 an hour." I was like, "Yo, what?
Winner.
$25 an hour?"
$25 an hour. Mine was $10 an hour, and it was at the strip club.
Yeah. See, and now look, fast forward 15 years later.
$15. That $15 difference makes a difference somewhere. That's called fringe benefit.
Yeah, $10 an hour and all the free water you could stand, boy.
Yeah.
Yo, but now, man, it's like 15 years later, and I'm here. There's jobs paying $60, $70, $85, $100 an hour. Tomorrow night's my first night back from vacation, and I'm going back to the hospital tomorrow night for $70 an hour to sit there for 4 hours and do nothing.
Oh, I didn't. I'm gonna tell you, when I left, the going rate, when I retired 5 years ago, the going rate was about 40 to 50. So my wife still works there, and she's a major, and she hadn't worked security, and she seldom. But somebody asked her the other day, "Could you cover for me on the deal?" And so I asked her. She's like, "Yeah, I'll cover." She didn't know how much it was paying. It didn't matter. It didn't matter to her. $60 an hour. I'm like, "Oh, whoa. I said, "Well, hold the fuck on now." I said, "You're telling me they're up to 60? You could be working something every week now."
Yo, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah,
that's where the money's at.
Yeah.
I tell you, if you're a cop and you're broke, it's because you want to be, not because you have to be.
It's that way in everything. Because I'm in, I've got a demolition and land clearing business now, and I'm working more than I want to work right now. If you're broke because you don't want to fucking work in this world, that's
on
all
you.
it is. It's on you. There's money to be made out there. You can make money. I know Jason's got to go in a little bit, but
watch the Bengals lose.
Yeah, watch the Bengals lose.
Hey. Yeah, I'm not optimistic, but we don't need to.
He said, no need for this violence.
Jesus, I'll drive down fucking Louisville right now.
Jason, whenever you're ready, click off. But Dexter, if you're willing, I want to dive back into and get a little more deeper.
I got time. We're good.
Yeah, I
get a little more deeper into some of the things that we were covering, and mainly what I'm talking about, and it all comes from the George Floyd, and it really, I think, started with the Michael Brown.
Absolutely. With
the Black Lives Matter movement. And I'm gonna tell you where I stand, and I can guess where you stand, but I know you're not you definitely, this is a topic you're okay with covering.
I'm an Uncle Tom sellout like the best of them, bro. So yeah,
I think it's a sad thing, and I hate that people like you, people like Brandon Tatum, get called the names. I don't even want to talk about the names y'all get called because I think it's disgusting. But I'm proud to be your friend. I'm proud of you for being who you are and not being afraid to be who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
And my stance on, and I appreciate that. And I consider you, met you one time in person. I consider you a dear friend now. And I think you're a great guy. So I'll tell you where my stance is on Black Lives Matter. I got the same stance as I'm sure you've seen Kevin Gates talk about Black Lives Matter. And I got the same stance as him. Who do they matter to?
Not us, because
black people are killing each other all day long. That's what he said. Why would I get involved with a group of Black Lives Matter when they only matter when it's a policeman, when it's a white policeman or it's a black policeman? When it's a policeman, that's the only time that matters. And look, I'm not on the All Lives Matter train. I'm not on that one because I do feel like there is a disproportionate it's disproportionate of young black men being killed. The numbers show it.
Absolutely. You can't argue the facts.
They're 6 times more likely to be killed than a young white man. But groups like Black Lives Matter are concentrating on policemen when 90% of them, or probably more than 90%, are justified. But it only matters when it's a policeman. That's my issue. I do think that there is a issue that there is a need for a group like Black Lives Matter, but first off, it's a money grab, it's a scam.
Absolutely.
I was going to say there's a place for it as long as it's not an enterprise.
But it is an enterprise, and that's where the main problem is. If it was right, it needs to be focused on first thing. And you and I talked about raising kids a little bit, and I like your concept. You're not allowing your kids, and they're not victims. They got two great parents.
Yeah, it better not be. The black asses better not be victims.
But the problem is, Dexter, and tell me your opinion on this. We are telling young black men you're victims. We are telling Latino men that you're victims, and you can't. And that's a Democrat selling point. You need us. You can't make it without us. Who's the racist here? It's not the Republicans, it's the Democrats. Because it's the Democrats saying, oh, poor little black kid, you need us in office so we can take care of you. Instead of saying you're not a victim, get a fucking education, get off your fucking ass, and
go to work.
And go to work and do something with yourself. You have that opportunity. So trust me, I believe there's no doubt that you've experienced racism in your life, Dexter. There's no doubt about that. I'm not stupid. I'm not, that biased to think otherwise. But where we have really fucked up in the last 10 years since 2014 is we are raising victims. And what happens is when we have told them how bad the policemen are and how bad white people are, what has happened? There are more violence because of what? Disobeying
the lawful order. That's
so,
it.
And what I always say is we focus too much on the end of a use of force incident. Why don't we get back to the beginning? Because we can debate the end. It's hard to debate the beginning because it always starts with one thing: disobeying lawful orders. So when we teach any young man, any young woman, no matter what race, it's real simple. Paul Harvey said this in the 60s. Do what the policeman says.
There you go.
And
you'll be okay. And if he's wrong, you can sue him. You'll be rich.
Yeah.
Man, there's a quote from Booker T. Washington, who I absolutely love in this book Up from Slavery, man. But he says, this quote, it says, there's another class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. Having learned that they are able to make a living out of their troubles, they have grown into the settled habit of advertising their wrongs, partly because they want sympathy and partly because it pays. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose their grievances because they do not want to lose their jobs. Will always be race hustlers, man. And I tell people that I love telling people this. You can't, but tell me, my grandpa, he died 3 years ago, 85 years old. This man, I did not know this, but did not know how to read till the day he died. Never learned how to read. I learned that 3 years ago. This man started as a sharecropper in his life and picked cotton for 55 years. No education, bought 2 houses and raised a family of 5 with no education. And this is in Mississippi. If he can make it, I ain't got no excuse not to make it because I'm educated. I work. Nobody else, no black person alive today can sit here and say that racism is holding you back, because I have proven that is wrong. My granddaddy proved that, you know what? There's racist people here, but guess what? I'm still going to rise and shine and grind and do what I got to do.
You're absolutely right. There are racist people, but as long as you have people like Jasmine Crockett, people like Ben Crump, people like Al Sharpton, all they want to do is talk about race. You know what we need to do?
Because they're getting paid.
Yeah, because
they're getting paid. They cannot let go. If we as black people don't have these problems, they no longer have a job. If we all of a sudden, black people wake up and realize, you know what? The white boogeyman is not really a thing here in the hood. It wasn't the KKK that shot little Pookie last week for his Jordans. Let's be real. It wasn't the KKK. But so it's like, man, heck, there's opportunity in this country. But unfortunately, this is what I say. We were talking about Rodney King earlier. What we're dealing with now is a kind of a traumatization that's been in the black community for years because of these things that happened so long ago. I remember me and you were at the wedding talking about Rodney King, and I was like, my one question is, how many Rodney Kings are there out there that we don't know about? And unfortunately, He goes and tell his family what happens.
Yeah.
And it keeps getting passed down generation. And they still think and believe that's true today, even though the statistics tell you that that is not the case. But the media takes this one.
So much video. Everything's on video now. You know, like I tell you at the wedding, the Rodney King was with a camcorder on a guy's shoulder.
Yeah, the odds of that.
With a big cassette tape, you know?
Yeah.
A
20-pound camera, bro. Just saying.
So now
you had to put a VHS bitch into that thing. It's like, all right, we're out looking for something.
And that goes around the world so quick. Yeah. And by the time you even address it, people's minds are already made up. And I tell people, Black people's minds are already made up because my mama, my granddaddy, my great-granddaddy, and my great-great-great-granddaddy told me that this is what it was with the police. So unfortunately, I'll tell you, man, Black people, unfortunately, we are so far behind because we are so tied to the trauma of the past that we just don't see a future. Despite the fact that we've had a Black president in this country for 2 terms, and he wouldn't have gotten elected if it wasn't for white people. But yet, we still use racism is the biggest clutch out there. And I tell people, it is a convenient excuse. It's so convenient because I can just say, look, it's a racist person. You know what? I don't even have to worry about what I've done wrong. It's not me. I robbed the store, but I robbed the store because of redlining. I robbed the store to feed my family because because I'm Black and the white man's got his foot on my neck. It's a convenient excuse. And you know what? I was like that. A lot of people don't know, James, you don't know, but I was going down that path of radicalization, being a Black separatist. If you get the chance to read my book, I was going down that path because I started educating myself. And this is what we do a lot of time in life, no matter your race or color. We usually take somebody's trauma and we wear it as our own trauma, even though that trauma did not happen to us. But we take on that because we want to feel like we're a part of a community. Man, when I got out of the Army, I had no community and I was looking for community. And I had to go with Spike Lee and do this movie in Europe. And when I was there, I'd never been surrounded by this many radical Black people. And I was looking for community. And I found community within this Hollywood leftist culture. And man, I remember I just never felt so empowered. Like, I'm proud to be Black. Man, I started going down this road, brother. I mean, it got dark. I remember my dad was talking to me. And I told him, like, man, can you believe what white people did to us in this country for all these years, what they're still doing to us? And my dad looked at me like, Negro, what you talking about? What have you ever been through? What do you know about anything? And I was just telling him, like, all this thing, the slavery and all what they did to us, the Willie Lynch letters. And my dad's like, yeah, that's history. But what do you know about that personally? Yeah. Nothing. Never affected me. But yet I'm wearing everybody else's trauma because I got the same skin color as them, despite the fact that never happened to me. I've never been a slave, never gonna be a slave. Nobody in my direct lineage recently. Exactly. And you've never, and then that's the other problem. Why are we holding people accountable for something that they weren't even alive to do? Imagine if my granddaddy who worked in the fields had debt for $100,000 and never paid it. They'd be like, you know what? We're gonna let his grandson take that debt. You'd be like, well, I didn't sign up for that. Yeah. And it makes no sense. But that's what we do now. We're, like I said, it's a constant game of scapegoat. And unfortunately, until Black people learn to take accountability for our actions, we're not going to move past where we are. And I hate to say that because I know it's not all of us, but unfortunately, it's a large majority of us because that has just been the steady going rate, man. Like when you have the Al Sharptons, the Jasmine Crockett's, you have the Timu Obama dude in there, man, bro, you got all these guys. They make it so easy for us to just hop over the things we've done wrong and just look at it's the white man.
Well, that's that's a great point. It's a good lead in to one of the last things that I want to cover.
Boys, I'm going to jump out.
Okay.
Real quick, but you guys finish up at Dexter. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
We're going to do it again soon. This is one of the best shows we've done. We're going to do it again soon, Jason.
Appreciate who they, Jason?
Who they, baby? See what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm scared, but we'll see what happens. James, thank you again.
Thank you. Give Jill our best.
Absolutely. Later.
Right. So that's a good lead in to one of my biggest passions of why I talk so much about the modern day policemen and these young men and women. So just what you said about the debt that they don't like, that we don't know because like reparations and stuff. It's the same thing with the modern day young policeman. There's no doubt that always use the 60s because the 60s, it was bad here.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
But why is what I think you'll agree that I have 2 kids, one 30 and one that's 23. And I think that we have raised, I think that my generation did a lot of wrong when they raised kids. We raised entitled kids. But one thing that we didn't raise was racist kids.
Yeah,
I think that we have, this generation is the least racist generation ever produced. And it keeps getting better, Dexter. It keeps getting better. So why is a 22-year-old policeman being stereotyped and being held accountable for something that a white policeman did to a black man in Los Angeles in 1960? That is fucking wrong.
It is wrong. And so actually, that's the first chapter of my new book that I'm working on. It's called How Did We Get Here? And all I'm doing is simply addressing the things that happened in the past, yo, because like you said, man, dude, we can go back into the past and look at all the crap that's happened with police and black people. So I tell people I understand why the black community is hesitant to trust the police because there's this long bad history. We can't ignore that. However, me as a Christian man, I know that one of the only ways to move forward is forgiveness. And we have to forgive the police departments of the wrong past doings, man. We just have to. And we can't hold today's police officers guilty for like the Mississippi burnings. We can't hold the we can't hold the police officers of the past for the, we can't hold them guilty for that stuff, man. Because like you said, dude, I've been in policing 15 years. I have seen more white officers lay down their lives to go and help some young black kids in the hood that they don't know and never gonna see again. And that is all I've ever done. That's what, like you said, this is the least racist generation ever. But unfortunately, the media doesn't like that. Yeah, the media doesn't like that. Yeah. No, the media needs that. They need that tension. Yeah. The media needs a boogeyman. And who better right now than the white police officer? Yep. Despite the fact that, you know what, this majority of cops in America are white and do a phenomenal job. Yeah. Phenomenal job, man. I mean, I forgot the statistics, but the number 1 cause of death for black men is not shooting by a police officer. It's nowhere near the close. It's nowhere near the top.
They just don't want to look at numbers. If they just want to spout out nonsense. But I'm gonna tell 2 quick stories, and I want to get your take on them, and we'll close it out. You're an hour ahead of me, and I don't want to keep you too late.
Are you sure?
But one thing,
what time is it?
Y'all are. I'm 7 o'clock over here.
Oh, okay. I thought we were close to the Eastern time frame. Okay.
So even though, like I just said, these policemen, they don't deserve it. They can't whine and cry about it. And I got in front of a group of them in 2020, and I said, hey, look, this is not y'all's fault. Y'all should not having to be paying the price for things that happened 50 years ago. But here's the thing. What are you going to do? You're going to whine. You're not the generation that caused it, but you can be the generation that solves it and fixes it. So get out there and own it and say, hey, treat people right. Treat people right. So that was my point with that, is that even though they're not deserving it, they're put in a position you can either fucking cry about it or you can get out there and fix it. You have to look at yourself first. And it's the same thing. And I'll tell you a quick story, and I think you'll appreciate it. It's the same thing when I feel about with race. And I was a commander, and I had probably 12, 13 captains and lieutenants. And there was I say young, he's probably in his 30s, black deputy who I don't think I had fired him, but I think he had quit. I think he got mad and quit. And he was not real popular when he left. So he came to my house about a year after he left. He came to my house, asked if he could talk to me, and we sat by my man cave and we had a drink. And he asked me if he could come back. And I was honest with him. I said, look, I like you. We're friends. I said, but the way you left and the things that you were doing beforehand, it's not going to be a popular decision. I said, let me think about it. So I thought about it and I decided to do it. Now, I knew it was going to be unpopular. So I didn't consult with my lieutenants and captains because I knew they were going to be against it. So why would I tell them, hey, I'm going to take your input and then go against them? I knew they're going to be against it. So what I decided to do was make the decision and then get in front of them and tell them, this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it. And I'm asking that you support it. So I bring them all in a room. And there was 12, 13 people. And out of that group, there was, I think he was the lieutenant at the time. I think he's the captain now, one black leader. And I tell them what I'm doing. One person spoke up again. Now, this was a black deputy. One person spoke up against the Dexter. Who was it?
A black guy.
Yeah. And it pissed me off. So I looked at it and I said, I appreciate you volunteering to be the man that calls and welcomes him back. And he says, are you serious? I said, I'm dead fucking serious. I said, go another room and call him and welcome him back, and I'll meet you in that room. And look, let me give him something up front. Him and I are very close. That leader and I were very close. He knows me. He knows my character. He knows me as a man. So I was comfortable doing it. So he goes in there. So I'm going to close this meeting. I'm going to meet you in that room. So I walk in the room as he's hanging up the phone. And I closed the door pretty hard. And I said, I'm sick of you motherfuckers. And he said, he said, who's us? I said, every black deputy in this division. I said, because y'all are like a crabs in a bucket. Every time one of you start climbing, you pulling them down. I said, you are the highest ranked guy in this division. You should be welcome. I said, if you have a problem with him and you go sit down with him and you tell him, I welcome you back. But these are the things that you need to do.
Under certain conditions. That's right.
Something that he did. He kind of got me. So he said, you got a point. He said, but I need you to hear me out. And he kind of got me on this one, Dexter. And let me tell you what, he's a good leader, but he's absolutely the best street cop I've ever been with, this lieutenant. He's the best street cop I ever knew. He said, there's two things that I am proud to be. He said, I am proud to be a cop, and I am proud to be a black man. He said, he has embarrassed both. I said, motherfucker, you got me. I said, you got me. And look, he's still there. He's done a hell of a job, Dexter. So,
the guy that came back?
Oh, he's done a hell of a job.
That's good. That's good.
You know how, man, you know what happened? There's two things that gets every cop. One or two things or both. Women
and alcohol.
They're dick and bottle. That's it. That's all. And look, I don't talk about the things I've done in my life, but I'm gonna tell you this. I'll say two things. Number one, I'm not the man I used to be.
Amen to that, brother. Same here, man. I can't hold judgment against nobody.
And if you knew everything about me, you'd probably hang this thing up. You wouldn't talk to me again, So I don't say these things as being judgmental and trying to be, like I'm better than people. Guys like me and you're very upfront that you have fucked up a lot in life.
Oh yes.
And I think it's okay to own it. I think it's okay I think we have to own those things and be willing to own it and say, hey, I'm not being hypocritical, because I'm telling you, y'all get in front of these guys and tell them, hey, look, guys, y'all could all start today as a group and could never catch up with the fucked up things that I did. But it's a different day and age. You can't do that anymore. You can't do these things. And I care about you and I love you. I'm not judging you. I'm not being hypocritical. I'm just telling you, you're going to get fired. You're going to go to jail.
Yeah, this ain't the 90s no more, man.
It's not. No, it's not. So, but Dexter, I really appreciate. Look, I'm gonna tell you, you coming back on, man. If you
absolutely, man.
I think that me, you, and Jason have a good have a good chemistry. I'd love to get you back on. I think you'll love Tom, and we got another retired police chief from Wisconsin, Joe Collins. So we went to the NA with that's with us often. Love to have you back.
Yeah, I prefer doing these because I don't have to do any sort of research. I could just come
and
talk and just speak my mind, man.
I love when Jason has me on. I love
cheating. It's cutting corners, man.
So, like the first time that he had me on, I'm like, man, I think I want to get my show up and just be a guest.
I'm telling you, man. Hey, no editing, no putting out, no thought, nothing, no social media. It's nice. It's a cheat.
But you know what? I'm retired, so I got time to do all that.
Yeah, man. Shoot, I'll be back to it 11 o'clock tomorrow night, man. Been off since the 1st, dude. So, but I'm only going back to work for 2 weeks, and then I'm out for my shoulder surgery for 6 to 12 months. So
6 to 12 months.
Yeah, bro.
Oh,
yeah, man.
Wow.
I'm shooting for the low end of 6, but I'm 41, so I don't think that's gonna happen. But I'm gonna try. Soft spot 8 in the middle.
So, Dexter, give us some closing thoughts. We're gonna close this thing out, but give us some closing thoughts and
closing thoughts, man.
I'll tell you what. Let's do this. I want your closing thoughts to be you're passionate about the young cops. I want you to talk to them. We have a lot of young cops throughout the nation that listen to us. So talk to them.
To the young officers out there, man, this is I say this from the bottom of my heart. This is truly the greatest job you could ever have. I have loved putting on this uniform day in and day out. My worst day on this job is better than my best day somewhere else doing something I don't love, man.
Amen.
If you are going to do this job, you come into this job knowing that it is not about you. You can have things that you want to accomplish personally, but this job is bigger than you. This job is bigger than anything you could imagine. And here's the one thing I want you to know about this job. It's not about you. It's about the Constitution. Your personal feelings don't matter. And if for some of you guys that were watching in 2020, you saw a lot of police officers going and taking part in these protests. And I'll tell you, that was one of the biggest mistakes police departments across the country have made. We set aside our impartiality and decided to take part in protests when the truth is you can't take part in any sort of protests. Your whole entire job is to protect the people protesting. If you want to protest, you protest on your own time. Here's the deal. If you can march hand in hand with Black Lives Matter because you sympathize with that, but you get mad when the KKK comes to town to march, guess what? You're in the wrong, because it's not about the message. It's about protecting the messengers, regardless of the message. It does not matter if you don't like the KKK, if you don't like BLM. This is America. The First Amendment says they have a right to march and express how they feel. And that is the one thing that has made me so mad about this profession. So many officers set aside being impartial and got into the weeds and got into the thick of the protests when we were not supposed to. Taking knees and all that. No, you sit on the sideline and you watch to make sure that the people protesting are protected, regardless of the message, because this badge does not represent you. This badge represents the people of this country and their ability to go out and protest. This job is not about you. You might think it is, but it's not. This has nothing to do with you. This is about preserving the number one most important thing we have here in America that other places do not have. And that is freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And if you can't set aside your personal feelings to protect the people protesting and marching, you don't need to be in my uniform. And when I say my uniform, I have 16 years in this uniform. I've lost multiple countless friends in this uniform that died wearing this uniform. And if you're going to dishonor them and me, I don't want you. But listen, if you're willing to come into this profession and conform to what we do, this doesn't need to be remade and reworked into something new. Policing at a general basis just works as in general. Come in and be for the people and about the people, you will be fine. And goodness will follow you your entire career as long as you stay impartial. Keep your personal bias out of it. That's all you got to do, and you will have a good career. You can have personal opinions outside. You can have personal opinions, but realize when you get into that police car, and you're responding to a call, nobody cares about your sex, your religion. Nobody cares about your politics. They only care, is this cop going to help me in my greatest time of need? That is the only thing that matters.
That is extremely powerful, extremely powerful. And I something that's similar that I said, Dexter, and I'll close with this. At my retirement party, you know, I had a career, an amazing career. I lost friends, been in shootings, been in, you know, we're Hurricane Alley here, seen our town destroyed several times. But there's people in the world, war-torn countries, that people don't know if they're going to be killed by terrorists, if they're going to watch their daughter be raped in front of them. Look at what we get to live through. Well, look what we get to live in. My worst day is somebody else's dream life, Dexter.
Absolutely, brother. Yes, sir.
So that's how, and I've had I'll tell you, I've struggled. I've had some struggles in the last couple of years. I've struggled with retirement. This separation anxiety is real. And, you know, when you've been a cop since you were 19 years old, it's hard. And this podcast has saved me. It has helped me. It helped me, you know, being with people like you. It really has been a great thing. And I feel like I have the platform. You know, I'm able to say what I want to say. Look at the things I said tonight. That's not popular to some people, but you know what? I don't give a fuck. And I don't have to care anymore. You know, I don't have to watch what I say anymore. And I can be that voice. I know my role now. My role is to be the voice for warriors like you who are still out there fighting the fight. And as long as I have a voice, I don't care if I have one listener. I'm going to I'm going to say it. So, Dexter, I appreciate it, man. I think you're an amazing dude, and I look forward to a long relationship with you. So I've kept
looking forward to it too, man.
Yeah, I've kept you long enough, and we'll talk off camera a little bit. But until next time, I know that everybody's going to want you back. Until next time, McGee and Pitts are